Okay, all right. I'm just going to assume that you can hear me and we will get started because I'm recording. So, hi, I'm Linda Kingston. I've already spoken to a lot of you, and if I haven't spoken to you, you've probably seen me on video. And for those who haven't, then it's nice to meet you. Okay, so this morning I'm going to give you the strategies to implement to be able to build the confidence that you need to be courageous and take risks, which will enable you to make the changes you need to create the life that you want. So, in my 10 years of working with women, I've found the most successful women are organised, resilient, they have high self value, and are persistent. So, it's really about, as Martin Seligman says, reaching beyond where you are is really important. All right, so my promise to you this morning is that you will embrace life and start living life to the fullest, that you'll learn the crucial steps to change your mindset to achieve personal growth, and that you'll feel you're able to be more in control of your life and to have more clarity. So, is that a bold promise? Yes, it is, but I am going to keep it. So before we start, I have a free gift for you. So if you stay with me until the end, you will receive a personality profiling ebook with more than 200 pages and 22 profile tests and evaluations. So the bonus is priceless. The value you get from it will be an excellent understanding of who you are. And it goes through assessments such as success factor, attitude, if you're content or restless, if you're extrovert or introvert, if you're optimistic or pessimistic, and so forth, down to if you are self-confident, if you're tough or tender, or if you're opened or if you're a closed book, and how obsessive are you. All right, so just a little bit of housekeeping to start off with. Just make sure that you have all your other chats closed and that you're in a nice quiet environment where you won't get any interruptions, because I need your full attention and to listen attentively. All right, I'm holding this webinar because I genuinely want to help you. Right, a little bit about me to start off with. So I've been helping women make changes in their lives for more than 10 years. I started my life in the Army where I was a medic and a unit physical training instructor. I also was involved in major exercises and worked in one of the busiest emergency facilities in the country, which was Liverpool Hospital in Sydney. As you can imagine, it was a high stress job, and to survive in that type of environment, I almost had to shut off my emotions in order to be able to deal with all the trauma. And not only the trauma, but the families who were also involved. So in 1999, I decided to discharge and go back to university. So I finished my degree and started working in the mining industry. I worked for global mining companies, Barrick Gold, Rio Tinto, BHP, Crew Gold, implementing wellness programs and women's wellness programs throughout Australia and East and West Africa. So I also implemented HIV and malaria programs and worked with World Vision and Helen Keller International. So what happened? Well, my husband, Ben, who was working overseas, got me pregnant. The risk of contracting malaria was too great, so I had to return to Australia. And this is where my life took a completely unexpected turn. So I had a big life in a high-paying job, travelling the world, and all of a sudden I was sitting at home watching the time pass by, waiting for my baby to arrive. So I fell into a depressed state. I was crying all the time, wondering what the hell had happened and what I was going to do now. My husband was still overseas. He worked away 10 weeks at a time. My family lived in country New South Wales, and my sister, who I thought was going to be supportive, wasn't. So that expectation had just been shattered. I didn't really have any friends here because we'd been away for so long, so it felt incredibly lonely and sorry for myself for about 6 months before I decided that I can either stay like this and be unhappy or I could do something about it. So I thought, if I'm going through this, there must be other mums going through the same thing. And that's when I started my business. I was so overwhelmed with the response I had, I soon realised that I went far beyond the mums in the same situation as me, but mums who were divorced and trying to get their lives back on track, mums who had a history of addiction and were relapsing, mums whose kids had grown up and left home and who were trying to redefine their identity, and much, much more. And what I knew best was helping people and women, so that's what I do. I help you get your life back on track, and I know what works and what doesn't. So that's a very brief overview of who I am and where I am today. So I'm going to help you adopt my IOT approach to change. So it's all about identifying the changes you need to make, overcome the obstacles to change and transform your life to create exactly the life you want, using a combination of my approach and Martin Seligman's approach to positive psychology to make positive, lasting change. So let me explain to you why my approach works. So I started using this IOT approach to change within the mining industry, working with men and women across several different countries and several different cultures. And what I found was that I was rolling this program out and I was seeing some massive differences between how the African culture had adopted it in comparison to the way the Australian culture were adopting change. I picked up on this very quickly, but I didn't know why, and I thought that the two different results presenting were very interesting. So I spent about 6 months researching, surveying and investigating. I surveyed literally 3,000 people across 2 continents with surveys, interviews and anecdotal notes as evidence. When I put it all together, and I kind of knew the answer already before I put it all together, but I wanted to prove my theory. So what I found was that African culture centres around the family, and not just immediate family, but within the community and the village as well. So in Africa, family is a vital aspect of the African livelihood. It's what unifies them. Family is the foundation which their society is built upon, and families coexist within small communities and is made up of a complex yet interconnected network of relationships. So when I was giving them the work to do, they were taking it home and sharing it with their families and within their communities, and absolutely flourishing. So now let me first say, I know and I understand that each family is different, and I'm in no way suggesting that every family unit is the same. But what I found was that Western families are almost polar opposite to the African family structure. Western families essentially carry out activities in isolation from other relatives, so there's no immediate interaction with the extended family except for celebrations. But in Africa, the family unit is constructed within the extended family, and most aspects of family life is shared by both extended and immediate family members. So where am I going with this, and how does this information affect my programs? So what I did was involve the families in Australia. I involved husbands and wives and sent home information packs to them about the programs and explained what was going to be involved. I also brought employees together and did a lot of team building activities. When I did this, I saw that people were uniting and they started to work together. So after about 3 to 4 months, I could really see that these people were beginning to flourish, the same as in Africa. So this is why I bring people together for the programs and for the retreats, because it works. It gives people a sense of community and connection, and when you have that, you are more likely to succeed. You are less likely to succeed if you do it alone. So if it works for more than 3,000 people across 2 continents, I'm pretty sure it's going to work for you. All right, so let me talk to you quickly about a couple of case studies. So I'm going to share a couple of case studies with you of women that we've worked with previously. So the first case study is Jenny Adams, the second one is Anna Ho, and the third is Casey Angus. And I'm really aware of the time, so I'll just try and quickly fly through these case studies. We may only get through 2. So just let me bring up the first one. So the first one is Jenny. So Jenny was a striking lady of almost 6 foot tall, married with 3 children, strong. She's an underground engineer and not easily intimidated. And she agreed with me. I'm a professional woman, Linda, but it is so difficult getting the respect I deserve. But the work you've done with me has given me the confidence in my own ability, the confidence that I needed. So I introduced Jenny to my IoT approach to change. When we started to delve into why it was so difficult for her to get respect, we uncovered that as a child, she had been brought up in a hostile environment with a physically abusive father. What was happening is that when she was confronted by her male peers, she was unconsciously relating those experiences to when she was a child, and those experiences were ultimately linked to fear. So, with the IoT approach, we implemented some strategies for her to be able to identify that fear and overcome on a conscious level, which in turn created new pathways in her brain. So, on her transformation, Jenny says the approach turned her job into something she actually loved, and she made lifelong friends with the people she once feared. She feels like she lives a life she never thought possible and wakes up every morning loving every day. She feels like she's the luckiest person on the planet. So, the next case study, Anna, she's a mother of three, a little bit different situation. She's married to Joe and is a stay-at-home mum. She worked before she had children, and now her children are growing up and becoming independent. She's questioning what her purpose in life is. So she says, I feel like I'm a strong woman, but I've been out of the workforce for so long, I don't feel like I have the confidence or the skills to re-enter the workforce. And if I do it, will that mean going back to work full time? And what will that mean for my children? So the 14 and 16-year-old will be okay. But what about Sarah, who is only 10 and she still needs her mum? So Anna came along to one of our retreats. I sat down with Anna and talked about what she's passionate about. We did personality profiling with her to identify her strengths and weaknesses and determined what her profile was in her natural state. Her lack of confidence was simply that she didn't have the direction that she needed, and she needed some clarity on what opportunities were available for her. With the career counsellor, we determined that she was actually quite driven. She decided to upskill and do some short admin courses so that she could do temp work. She could then work days that suited her and still be there for her daughter. So, of her transformation, Anna says the retreat dealt with her issues and gave her a real direction and purpose. She loved working with Chris, our psychologist, and now she feels like she has real purpose. So, Casey's situation is a little bit different, but we do have a lot of information to get through, so I'm just going to move forward. But if you have any questions and you want to revisit that, then just let me know after the webinar and I'll go through it with you. All right, so you are here today because you want to regain your identity. You want to be able to push past your fear to make real change. You want more energy and clarity in your life, and you want to create a more happy, relaxed, balanced, and fulfilling life. Oops. All right, so let's do the maths. So, for example, if you were to only change one thing, and I'm going to use exercise as an example, if you only do 30 minutes of exercise or walking per day, that's 3 hours of exercise per week. So what if that 30 minutes of exercise per day could lead to losing 3 kilograms in 1 month, which is completely achievable? Let's fast forward 1 year and let's do the maths and I'm tongue-tied, and let the maths do the work. So if you exercised 30 minutes per day in 1 year, you could lose 36 kilograms. Even if you don't have full success because you can only do part-time or 30 minutes 3 times a week, you'll still lose 15 kilograms in 1 year. And that is huge. So can you see how it is still worth the effort? So you don't have to go 100%. You can only go 50%, but it's just about deciding to making that change and start making that change. So don't have self-limiting beliefs. Don't limit yourself. This one concept can be applied to whatever change you are trying to achieve. If you only take small steps and make small gains, it is still worth starting. All right, so the reason I'm doing this webinar now is because I'm looking for case studies. I'm looking for about 5 people who can get this program at a discounted price. And the reason you are getting such an affordable rate is because I'm not so much concerned with the money. I'm looking for more people to be successful. So you can go through my program and be the next success story. So remember the previous case studies, a mum who overcame her confidence, a mum of 4, and the last one I didn't really speak about was a mum of 3 with an unsupportive husband who was a reformed drug and alcohol addict, and she came through it. And our latest case study is Leanne, and she came to our last retreat. And if you would like to have a look at her story on our website, then just pop over. It's on the homepage and have a look at her story. It's absolutely amazing. So I want to further test my theory that building a community works and being a part of something works, and it will work for you too. So let's learn about how you can get the life that you want. So let's think about this quote for a second. If you don't step out of your comfort zone and face your fears, the number of situations that make you uncomfortable will keep growing. Just stop and have a think about that for a couple of seconds. All right, so let's learn about how you can get the life you want. So first of all, I'm going to talk about latest research on creating wellness, which is Martin Seligman and Angela Duckworth. The second point we'll talk about is the dreaded comfort zone. The next one is perceived fear. The next one is rating yourself as a person. Number 5 is increasing your belief that you can succeed. Number 6 is drawing on inspiration. And number 7 is smart goals. And number 8, we have an addition to our webinar today, Robin. She's going to be talking to you about styling. So being beautiful on the inside and the outside. And then how to deal with setbacks and to be resilient. Oops, I can't seem to... There we go. So first of all, let's talk about perceived fear. So perceived fear is success on the other side of your comfort zone. And if you look at the little globe up the top, may you always do what you are afraid to do and to keep moving outside of your comfort zone. So perceived fear. Let me tell you about perceived fear. And this is my 3 sisters story. Okay, so I could do a whole webinar just on this topic alone. So I'll give you just a quick overview about how perceived fear and perceived risk can hold you back from making real change. So I used to be right into rock climbing. Now I'm sure you or anybody who hasn't climbed before would consider rock climbing a risky and dangerous activity and perceive it as real risk. If I told you to go and hang off the side of a mountain 500 metres above the ground, you'd probably politely tell me that I was crazy and say no in no uncertain terms. What if I told you that you would be tied on and there would be no chance of you falling? You would probably still say no, but then the real risk has actually been taken away. It would become perceived risk, and it would only be your own fear holding you back. So now, how does this relate to what I'm talking about today? Well, to make a personal achievement, you need to take risk and ask yourself, is it real risk or is it perceived risk? If I work through it, make sure that I am wearing a harness and I'm tied on with a rope and I'm working with a good team. If I fall, I have the processes in place to keep me safe and to keep me going forward. Often it's the fear of the unknown that holds us back. So I'm going to tell you a story about my own fear. I was climbing the 3 Sisters in the Blue Mountains many years ago. I was climbing with a team of people and I reached a point in the climb when I froze. There was a point where I thought, I can't do this. But I was hanging off the side of a mountain so high the trees below seemed very small, and I actually didn't have too many choices at that point. So I rationalised my situation, Rationally, I knew that if I fell, the ropes would stop me from falling too far, and that the rope was hooked onto a harness, and all this gear was made to hold 3,000 kilograms, but it was the fear that was stopping me from moving forward. So at that point, I thought to myself, do you know what, Linda? You actually don't have a choice. You really do need to keep going. So after rationalizing the situation and a lot of encouragement from my teammates supporting and encouraging me, I kept going. And this gave me an enormous sense of encouragement and accomplishment. So once you understand the difference between real and perceived risk, and that it is fear that is standing in your way of success, you will make some remarkable achievements. So let's talk now about your comfort zone. So you can see the images on the screen. You have your comfort zone in the center, which is your most familiar, the maintenance of old patterns. So these are the patterns that have been holding you back for maybe 5, 10, 15, maybe your whole life. Then you move into the growing zone. So the growing zone is little familiarity. Oh, it becomes really scary once you start moving into the growing zone. It becomes risky and uncomfortable. You start feeling anxious, and the temptation is really strong to return to the old ways. Okay, for example, I'll use exercise again. If you're running, you're in your comfort zone. You know, you get up every morning and it's just nice. You have a cup of tea, sit down, read your mag. But if you were to get up and go for a run, then that would be really uncomfortable. But after a little while, you start moving through that growing zone into your growth zone, where you become confident using your knowledge, the integration of your skills into your daily life, and you start to master those changes that you've started to make. And then if you have a look, so that's moving from comfort through your growing zone out into your growth zone. And it's just getting through that growing zone out into your growth zone, which holds us back from making the changes that we need to make. And then over here on the left-hand side of the screen is another one. It's a little bit blurry. I'm sorry for that. But this is your comfort zone here. This is where you feel fear, you feel tired, you feel depressed, your life is just mediocre, you're just in survival mode. And then on the outside of this circle is excitement. It's where your dreams are, it's where you see yourself, it's where you see your ideal you, it's your confidence, it's what if I can do that? You know, what if I just take a small step and succeed at that? And then what if I take another small step and succeed at something else? And then eventually you start moving out into the growth zone, and it's so much easier then to move from the comfort straight to the growth. You have little temptation to stay in the growing zone. And then you start feeling passionate, you start believing in yourself, and fear becomes a thing of the past. And if you've done the program that I sent out when you joined up for the webinar, there's a little exercise around this where you draw a connection between what's holding you in your comfort zone and what's on the outside of the comfort zone that you can actually achieve. All right, let's keep moving. So I've been through that story, my perceived risk and the real risk story for the three sisters. So it's just about moving past that fear and understanding what is perceived and what is real. Like jumping off the side of a building is real risk. You know, going to the gym is perceived risk. All right, our emotional brain and controlling our thoughts. So what I would like you to do, I've tried clicking on this a couple of times, and I click on it and then I can't get back into the presentation. So what I want you to do is just write down centers. Just write down centers, and centers, if you do one of our programs, which is the Mind, Body, Soul, or the Vertical Degrees program, you'll do a series of videos and work around the centers, the video package. But if you go to YouTube, you just Google centers, and there's some really great videos come up underneath the centers brand. All right, so how do you rate yourself as a person? How do you rate your self-esteem, and how do you rate your concept? your self-concept. So what I want you to do now is to start making some positive change in your life. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your self-esteem and self-efficacy and self-concept. So how you feel about yourself plays a very important role in the success of your plan towards change. So you have certain life experiences which have been negative or positive, but nonetheless, they've shaped who you are today. They form what beliefs you have about yourself, and this ultimately forms your self-concept. And it can be that they are changing and evolving, or they could be set in stone and you are stuck and not evolving as a person. So for the purpose of this exercise, there's two parts to the, firstly, how you feel about yourself globally, and that is your worth as a person or self-esteem. And secondly, how capable you think you are of succeeding at this given challenge. So self-esteem and self-efficacy are connected in some ways, though not necessarily in the way you might assume. So, for example, if you think highly of yourself as a person, it does not mean that you feel you are any more capable of, say, jumping out of a plane or standing up and giving a speech to a room full of delegates. You might feel more confident in general than people who have low opinions of themselves, but the skills that are needed for the two tasks are quite separate and distinct from having a positive opinion of oneself as a person. So, however, general confidence in yourself as a person and skill-based confidence are both important to success in making positive and lasting change. All right, so what I would like you to do now is to make a list of your strengths. Okay, so you can ask people around you what they think your strengths are. And then once you've made that list of your strengths, I would like you to write down specific situations where you've used your strengths. And then once you've done that, and go and buy yourself a journal if you need to, and then once you've written down those strengths and the situations, keep adding to it. And add to it every day if you need to, but revisit it at least once a week. So by concentrating on what we have going for us, we create positive energy, and that sets the right climate for success. So take some time to review what you've achieved and what you are good at and what it took to achieve it. The next step is to ask people around you what they consider your strengths are and then add them to your list. And you may be surprised at what they come up with. Other people have a different perception of you than what you do. So my list of strengths are I'm committed, I'm optimistic, I appreciate the outdoors and the beauty of my surroundings, I'm fun to be with, sometimes, most of the time, sometimes I'm not. I'm determined, I love my family, I think I'm a good mum, other people say I am, a good friend, I'm a perfectionist, I'm loyal, and I'm trustworthy. So this will also help your self-efficacy, and such a list can strengthen your belief that you have what it takes to succeed in this change process, because this list represents the evidence. All right, so what I want you to do now is to write a little positive affirmation. So this morning I got up and I wrote, okay, today I slept in and felt really rested. I finished preparing for my webinar, made myself a cup of tea and enjoyed 15 minutes relaxing in the sun. So this is just a little thing that I wrote after I got up this morning to set the scene for the rest of the day. So in your journal, that is what I would like you to do as well. So every morning when you get up, just write a little positive affirmation to keep you going for the rest of the day. And you can use the same one over and over and over. It's just about becoming positive before your day actually starts. The next exercise is to write a letter of forgiveness. So forgiveness is a powerful tool that can transform feelings of anger and bitterness into positive emotions. Learning to forgive people for the hurt they have caused us can relieve weight from our shoulders we didn't even know we were carrying. So, writing a letter that you may or may not send can be a very healing process. Even if the person you are writing it to is no longer around, write the letter anyway. Forgiving does not make their actions right, it just takes the burden of resentment away. So, the present is really what life is all about, learning to appreciate the moment and becoming more aware of what is happening around us. How we are feeling and what pleasure, if any, is being experienced can change our attitude to life remarkably. So, slow down to start. The future holds promise of exciting things to come. Anticipation and planning can create enormous pleasure, which is why we start with a vision of our ideal health. Start enjoying the feeling of what it could be like now. The flip side to this unnecessary worry. This can make more work, but when you read the section on negativity, you'll be better equipped to handle your own demons. All right, so do this. Write this letter of forgiveness and pledge to forgive the person you are writing to. And I suggest don't deliver it, just keep it for yourself, but it's completely up to you. The next little exercise is increasing your self-belief. So congratulate yourself. When you are implementing change on your own, you need to learn how to encourage yourself and promote your confidence. So, the simplest way to do this is to set yourself a task that is achievable. Don't set yourself something that you think you are not going to achieve, because then you won't be able to move past that fear and have success. Because each time you go to try something, you're going to fail, and then you'll lose the value of yourself and your own belief in yourself. So, set yourself small challenges to start off with. So set yourself a task that's achievable. It may take some effort, but does not stretch you in a way that might produce failure. Once you have completed this task, take time out to pat yourself on the back and say, well done. As a society, I think we focus too much on what went wrong and not enough about what goes right in our lives. And sometimes it's good to learn from bad experiences, but it's not good to dwell on them. And in one of our programs, we've got a great strategy for moving past that, not dwelling on the negatives and moving towards the positives. However, we're not very good at dwelling on what goes well. We sort of, it goes well, great, and then we forget about it. And this comes from our ancestors. So to counteract that, we need to consciously work in a positive state. So this exercise of congratulating yourself and writing 3 things that you're grateful for every day, you will do this in your journal every day for the next week. Write down things that went well for you for the day. And this will create positivity after a couple of weeks, and you'll start to automate positivity and be able to recognize when things go well and congratulate yourself without putting too much thought into it. Right, the next thing that I suggest is drawing on inspiration. So I'm going to share a little story with you about inspiration. So there's nothing more powerful for increasing your belief that something can be done than seeing somebody else do it. Makeover shows, success stories, and testimonials, they all demand attention and have a very positive effect on you. If they can do it, then so can I. Identify somebody who inspires you, and when you're going through a negative moment, have that person's achievements close by so you can refer to them. So I'll share with you my little Everest story. So I've always had a fascination with Mount Everest, and that's me, by the way, standing up on the top of Kalapatar with Everest over in the background. So I've always had a fascination with Mount Everest, with Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. I've always thought of it as an incredible story of personal guts, personal achievement, determination and strength. I have watched every movie and read every book about Mount Everest. So being the highest peak in the world at 8850 metres, and I think it's a beautiful mountain. I'd always dreamt of one day going to Mount Everest. So in 2004, oh my goodness, really? Has it been that long? Yeah, so in 2004, I did. I planned and trained for 6 months prior to going. I reached my ultimate point of fitness. It took 3 weeks from the day we landed in the Himalayan mountains to hike to Everest Base Camp and climb Kalapatar. So Kalapatar is at almost 6,000 metres that overlooks Everest there in the background. It was one of the hardest yet most exhilarating times in my life. It was beautiful, rugged, and very, very cold. And what I realised when I got there was that there were so many other people from all over the world sharing my same dream, which was just awesome. We reached the peak of Kalapatar and Everest, and this gave me the ultimate sense of achievement. I'd made it to Everest, and it was everything and more than I thought it was going to be. Although it was so damn cold, we could only stay there for a short time before we had to descend. I guess the point to my story is that I absolutely pushed myself to the limit. I went far beyond anything I thought was possible for me to achieve. So don't let the unknown stop you. Find something or somebody who inspires you, draw from that, and just go for it. Make your dreams a reality and push yourself to achieve, because each time you achieve something, you'll be able to push yourself more and more to reach ultimates you never thought were possible. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to draw on inspiration from somebody else. It's just the driving force to get you moving. The closer the person is to you and the more you respect them, the greater their impact, the greater the impact their success will have on you. Surround yourself with people, or at least spend time with them who you are inspired by. There is something that is more powerful than watching other people succeed, and that is your own successes. So we return to the need to take small, achievable steps so we can experience the clocking up of successes. Revisit your past achievements and bask in the glow of remembered accomplishment. Okay, always give yourself credit for what you accomplish. All right, I'm really mindful of the time. So, what I'm going to say now, I'm going to really skip through these quickly. So, it's all about creating smart goals. So, create a plan to achieve your goals, how to start moving forward, how to design smart goals, and why they're necessary. So, smart goals being specific, measurable, action orientated, realistic, and time framed. So, specific goals are about saying, I'm going to run 3 kilometres without stopping, and I am going to do that by the end of next month. Measurable is being accountable for it. Measurable is a goal must have something about it that can be measured. So training regularly might mean 3 times a week or 5 times a week, or for how long, at what intensity. And you should state the days of the week, how long each training session will last, and what intensity and activity will be performed. Okay, that is how you measure your success. Make them action orientated. So the goal must have action built into it. Even if it's a thinking goal, it needs to be tied to an action. So instead of, I'll think about why I want to reduce my working hours, make it a goal. I'll list the reasons for wanting to reduce my working hours. And remember the golden rule of goals. They need to describe actions or behaviours. Make them realistic. A difficult goal will never be achieved. Make them a stretch, but don't stretch them out too far. And make it time framed. So weekly goals, 3 monthly goals, daily goals are all examples of time framing your plan. Walk for 40 minutes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay, that is a time framed goal. And the goals need to be tied to whatever the outcome is that you desire. And we always say, picture yourself in 12 months' time. What do you want to be? What sort of person do you see? Are you happy? Where are you living? Where are you working? Who are the people that you have in your life? Have you lost your 30 kilograms? Are you wearing the size 8 or the size 10 or the size 12 dress that you really want to fit into? give yourself the outcome that you want to achieve so that you keep striving towards achieving all those small goals. And create a structure of what was I going to say? I just completely forgot what I was going to say. Doesn't matter. Let's bounce back after setbacks, the importance of resilience. So how you think of your successes and failures. All right, so the important thing to do is that if you have a failure, it's not about not getting up and trying again. It's like riding a horse. If you fall off a horse, you just get back on and keep going. You're not going to fall off the horse and then give up riding, are you? So it works the same for setbacks and the importance of resilience. So if you enjoy success and tell yourself you were lucky, you don't really take credit for your achievement. If you make a mistake or fail to reach a goal, tell yourself something like, oh, I never get it right. You're taking the opposing extreme view to too much responsibility. So can you see how that would work against your self-esteem? So become aware of what you're telling yourself each time and try to adjust that so that you replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. And also building your support team is very important. So building your support team, so it's always easier to do anything in life when you have a good team on your side. And that's what we do. We work with you. We're a team. We help you. We support you. We make sure that you succeed, or we do our damnedest to make sure that you succeed. Support is among the essential building blocks, and it will be different for everyone. Some people need more encouragement from the outside. Others require detailed information. Some prefer to go it alone and have minimal reliance on others. But if you need people around you, then ask them. Ask your family and friends if they'll be your exercise buddy. And make the commitment. If you have a commitment with somebody else, you're more likely to succeed. So I find motivation. I love going to the gym because I like being inspired by watching other people work out. If they're working hard and I'm not, I think, oh, what am I doing? So it drives me to work harder. And it satisfies one of the most basic human needs, the need for belonging and affiliation. And it can also give us the opportunity to participate in group activities, to provide a structure for our exercise routine and puts you in touch with a network of people. So I'm going to hand over now to Robin, and she's going to talk to you about style. And this will go for about 5 minutes.
Hi, girls. Today I really want to talk to you highlighting on just a 5-minute, taking the time to just a 5-minute minimalistic makeup routine, because in between your goals is a thing called life, and life has to be lived and enjoyed. So don't let anyone ever dull your sparkle, especially you. At the moment, there's a little bit of hype online with regards to a very prominent female media personality who has completely given up her daily beauty regime. I tend to disagree a little bit. I believe in tackling the aging process in a low-key manner. It's a part of making the most of what we've got. A well-maintained skin, nice brows and lashes with a slick of lip gloss can make you feel good. A daily beauty regime is part of taking care of yourself. It doesn't say you're afraid of getting older. You are simply wanting to look your best. Applying makeup isn't an imprisonment of a day, something that you have to do each day. It's a form of self-expression. It positively enhances, and it doesn't change your face or your body, or more importantly, it doesn't change who you are. So I'm just going to run through about 7 or 8 steps that will get you out the door in the morning looking fab-o. The first thing you have to do is moisturise. After you apply your moisturiser, go and clean your teeth or do something that takes just a couple of minutes so that your moisturiser can be absorbed into your skin. Then apply a foundation, a cream foundation with at least a 30 plus SPF factor all over your face, neck and décolletage. I personally have been using the Ella Bache Great Foundation. It's called Great Sunbase Foundation, and that has a 50 plus factor in it. And so whilst it is a beauty product, you actually it's a skincare product at the same time. After you apply your foundation, just give your skin a dust over with a big brush of some kind of mineral translucent powder. The mineral translucent powder is fantastic because it's made up of really great products that can again enhance the sun protection. After you do that, just rather than using a whole range of products, get a good quality bronzer, and there are bronzers on the market that are divided into quarters, so you can rub your big brush right around to get the depth of colour you want. But just with a light little fan brush, apply bronzer as a blush, and then just have a light brush of the bronzer across your forehead and then down your T-zone, and just lightly down your jawline, and it just catches the light. It really gives you a nice sun-kissed, fresh look. But don't go too heavy on it, otherwise you might get a slightly sunburnt look. After you've applied the bronzer, just quickly apply some mascara to the corners of your eyelashes. Again, if you're not short on time, curl your eyelashes with a little eyelash curler just to enhance and open up your eyes a little bit. Then all you have to do is, if you have time, apply some lip colour, a nice lip stain. If you like, again, I use the Revlon Colour Stay range. It's fantastic. You apply the colour. Then I go over the top of that with another Ella Bache product, and it's called the Great 50 Plus Lip Saver. So not only is it a beauty product, it is a makeup product, but it is a skincare product. And I can't emphasise enough, one of the greatest skincare products you can use is sunblock. Okay, so once you've applied your lip colour and gloss, a little spritz of your favourite fragrance, then step back, check out how you look. If you need to enhance a little here or there, or you've got a smudge of mascara, then you can just touch that up. When it comes to your hair, often in the morning, if busy mums, getting out the door, getting the children out the door, going to do school drop-off, if you have zero time, slick your hair back, pop it into a pony, or just slick it, if you have short hair, slick it back and wear it up under a nice little baseball cap. I have to say that Sports Girl, Kukai, Portman's, they have fantastic ranges of really colourful little baseball caps or leather look baseball caps. The other thing that I love are the little straw fedora caps, fedora hats for summer. They look brilliant. So no one would ever know what's going on under those caps or hats. And if you're a little bit more fashion forward at the moment, the felt wide brim fedoras are looking pretty hot for the little chickadees. If you don't like wearing hats, my suggestion is always a really nice slick back high pony or a little sides chignon. And then if you have a little teasing comb, it always helps. If you haven't washed your hair for a couple of days, tease that hair up, pop it in a high pony, spritz of hairspray, you're out the door and done. So they're my little tips for the day. And just to loop back on what Linda said earlier, we can't become what we need to become by remaining what we already are. And they are the famous words of Oprah Winfrey.
That is so true, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, girls, for listening.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Great tips. I might try using them. I don't seem to be able to get out the door looking that great. Robin always looks great, by the way. When she's looking bad, she's always looking great. Okay, so the final word is our programs. Well, first of all, the final word is try not to do this in isolation. The process of asking for support may begin a lifestyle change itself and will open up different ways of relating, especially if you're somebody who would normally prefer to do just about anything yourself rather than asking somebody else for help. All right, so what you will get from our programs, we have 3 programs. The first program is our retreat. So the next one is in April 2015. We've just had our last one for the year at Peppers in the Sunshine Coast hinterland. The Gold Coast hinterland. So it's a 3-day retreat, and we offer you a psychologist. We have a GP on board now. We have a dietitian and an exercise physiologist. Plus we have career counselling and many other things as well. So what you will get from that is disc profiling and a MAP profile so that we can have a look at what your strengths and weaknesses are. You'll work with us prior to the retreat and after the retreat, so for 6 months. And you're getting real value from this program. We work with you personally to work out what's going to work well for you, and then we implement that into your lifestyle without disrupting your life too much. So normally our retreats are $3,900, but today, just for today, we're going to give it to you for $1,900, but that's excluding flights and accommodation. The other program that we offer is online, which is our Vertical Degrees program. And the Vertical Degrees is 12 weeks. You still get your DISC and MAP profile. You'll have a personal strategy session with our psychologist. You'll have 8 mindset videos and tasks. You'll get a Fitbit. And then you'll have 4 personalised counselling sessions. So that's normally $997. So off the back end of this webinar, it will be $897, plus we have payment plans. Our Mind, Body, Soul program is $297. Is normally $297, but for the back end of the webinar is $250. It's an 8-week program. You don't get your DISC profiling, but we still do the MAP profiling, which is a career profile. You'll have your personal strategy session, and for all of our programs, you have unlimited email support. Plus, you get a 100% money-back guarantee. So imagine achieving your ideal you. What does that look like for you? Imagine if you could achieve the same results as Jenny, Anna, and Casey. All right, so here's the link that you need to go to sign up. It's https://courageous.leadpages.net/webinar package. And once you go there, you can actually have a look. I've got the prices there again, and you can click on which package you're interested in, and then we can give you a call and follow up. You can also get your bonus from this page. So you'll see there, get your bonus here. You click on that to get your 22-page personality profile. So you'll have until Wednesday, 5 p.m. There are fantastic programs offered at a great price. You get 100% refund, so there's no risk. And there is a reason why you are here. There is no risk. It's time for you to be decisive and be courageous and to make the changes you deserve. All right, so others will jump in today and have success, so why not you? Be a part of the group who transforms. You're at a point where you need to decide about your future, so decide now. And here are the links. So you can either send us an email if you're interested in joining one of our programs, so hello@eighthelement.com.au, or you can give us a call on 049 999 3946. Or what usually happens is that you can write a message on the webinar chat with your phone number, and we'll call you right after the webinar closes. And there's the link again there. So if you have any questions, then please ask them now. I'll forever hold your peace. Or give us a call. Whoops. Okay, are there any questions? No questions. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, ladies, and I hope to speak to you soon. Bye now.
Thank you.